Ronnie Van Zant was born in Jacksonville, Florida, in 1948, into a working-class family that never imagined he'd one day change the world of rock music. From a young age, Ronnie had a fierce personality, combining toughness with natural charisma. He wasn't a kid who followed the rules, he lived life by his own code. Music became his outlet, but he also dreamed of becoming a boxer or even a professional baseball player. In the mid-1960s, Ronnie found his calling when he and some friends started jamming together. What began as a group of kids practicing in a carport turned into the band Lynyrd Skynyrd, a name cheekily inspired by a strict gym teacher, Lynyrd Skynyrd. Ronnie quickly established himself as the leader not just because he could sing, but because he had vision. By the early 1970s, Lynyrd Skynyrd was signed to a major record label, and suddenly, the band skyrocketed. Hits like Sweet Home Alabama and Free Bird became anthems of a generation. Ronnie's gritty, soulful voice made every word believable, and fans connected deeply to the authenticity in his lyrics. Unlike many frontmen of his era, Ronnie wasn't chasing trends, he was writing from his heart, about real life, Southern pride, and the struggles of ordinary people. But fame came with struggles. Ronnie was known for his fiery temper and his hard-living lifestyle. Drinking and fighting became as much a part of his image as singing. He could be brutally honest, even harsh, with bandmates, and yet he was also fiercely protective of them. Many close to him said that Ronnie had two sides, the tough as-nails leader and the sensitive poet who felt things more deeply than he let on. On October 20, 1977, tragedy struck. While traveling on a plane to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, the band's aircraft ran out of fuel and crashed in Mississippi. Ronnie Van Zant, along with guitarist Steve Gaines and backup singer Cassie Gaines, lost their lives in that horrific accident. In an eerie twist of fate, that prophecy came true. Free Bird became more than a hit, it became a tribute. Not just to freedom but to Ronnie himself. Fans across the world mourned him, and his legend began to grow even larger after his death. Ronnie left behind his wife Judy and a daughter he never got to meet, Melody. His brothers, Johnny and Donnie Van Zant, carried the family's musical torch. Johnny eventually stepped in to lead Lynyrd Skynyrd when the band regrouped years later, keeping Ronnie's spirit alive on stage. Ronnie's influence also shaped countless musicians who saw him as a fearless storyteller. He loved fishing and being outdoors, preferring simple pleasures over Hollywood glamour. Those closest to him said he could sit for hours in silence, just thinking. This depth of character made him complex. He was a man who lived hard but thought deeply, a rare combination that gave his art such raw power. Even decades later, Ronnie's shadow looms large over rock and pop culture. His songs are still featured in films, commercials, and sports events. Younger musicians in 2025 continue to cite him as an influence, showing that his music transcends generations. Ronnie may be gone, but he remains as relevant as ever in the soundtrack of American culture. Here in 2025, Ronnie Van Zant's legacy is still honored in powerful ways. A new Lynyrd Skynyrd documentary released this year takes a deep dive into his personal life, featuring never-before-seen footage and interviews with his family. The most heartbreaking truth about Ronnie Van Zant is that he seemed to know his time would be short. He lived with a sense of urgency, pouring his soul into every song and every performance as if he knew tomorrow wasn't promised. While his life ended far too soon, his impact was massive. His story is one of brilliance, passion, and tragedy. He rose from humble beginnings, created anthems that will live forever, and left this world in a way that was as shocking as it was heartbreaking. Yet, even in death, he continues to inspire millions, and that voice, even in 2025, refuses to be silenced.